So I wanted to do a quick video on just a really fun Halloween nail art thing you can do on your own, and it's kind of the blood spatter fingerprint nail. You can find these all over YouTube, and just Google it and you can definitely find these. This is not by any means a new thing, but I wanted to show you my version that I'll probably be doing on my nails, and they look like this. So super cute, really fun, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of advice on what worked and what didn't work for me, because I did try several different methods, things that I had also seen. Some of them just didn't actually work. They weren't practical. So I'm going to show you how I actually did it. And you can see I kind of have the pre-experiment on my hands here, and I really love the blood spatter. I actually love that it goes up my fingers, and when I take this all off and redo my nails, I'm probably actually going to leave the blood spatter up my fingers because I think it looks cool and more realistic. And there's the thumbprint, which I'm not sure you can see that well, and I didn't love how that came out, but I figured out what I'm going to do differently, and I'll tell you. So I'm actually, a nail tech, so I actually have a lot of these stampers, and you can see here's my CC and Sissy plate number 3, and this is the fingerprint stamper. Now you don't need this. You can actually use your own fingerprints and polish and just dab it off onto a thing and stamp it on your finger. So you can do this completely with what you have at home, except for probably one item you're going to need to buy, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute. I used the China glaze, and it's called Ruby Deer, and deer, D-E-E-R, like the animal. I found out once I used it, it's a little too pink. I had swatched a bunch of them next to each other, and I would actually recommend using Zoya Recca. This one is the perfect yellow. You can see it right here. I mean, when it thins down, and that's what I mean when I'll show you the extra technique, that really works out very, very well. So what I would do first is paint all the nails white, like I did in here, and I just used the Sinful white. I also really love China Glaze's white, so you have bunch of different options. Let it dry thoroughly before you do this, and then you're going to do your stamper first. One of the things I learned when you're stamping, okay, so I'm going to use the Zoya first. When you're stamping and you want to go in, let me clean this off, and this is just acetone. When you clean it off and you want to use it, you want to be very jagged. That's one of the things that I learned. It's too perfect, and then when I go to scrape it, I'm also going to do the same kind of thing, and then I'm going to pick it up, and you can see how it's got perfect edges. You want to mess up those edges. You don't want any square perfection going on your stamp, and then when you stamp it, and it doesn't come off. This is my Uber Chic. I spent a lot of money on it, and I'm actually not a fan. It doesn't really work that well. But when you stamp it, you want kind of a jaggedy, smeary edge. You really don't want it to be perfect. This might be an example where using your finger is actually a better idea, because you can smear it and pull it and kind of be more in charge of how you use it. But anyway, so let's clean that off again. The next thing you need to do the blood spatter. I have seen a lot of different techniques where people have loaded up a bobby pin with polish and, using the surface tension in that to create kind of a bubble, and then supposedly flicking it and it comes off. I tried it. It did not work at all for me. There was too much surface tension. I tried opening it. I tried bending it. You can see here's the one that I tried opening to decrease the surface tension, and it really just didn't work. And anytime it came out, it was like this big blob, and I wasn't getting the streaks like you see here, which I think are perfect, and little droplets. So what I did instead, kept experimenting, tried a couple different things, tried a big fat brush that holds a lot, because you really need it to be overloaded to get that good spatter. What I found though was that I needed to go to my polish thinner, and this is Beauty Secrets nail polish thinner. I get it at Sally's Beauty Supply, and I actually took 4 drops of the polish, and I took probably about 10 drops of the nail thinner, the polish thinner, and I mixed it into here, loaded the brush so it was really, really, really wet. You can see, let me see if I can move this. I set up almost like a little spatter station. So you can see there's a paper towel. I'd get it double. This is a thinner one, and get it double and actually make almost like a little mini paint station. And then let me move these out of the way so you can kind of see. See, there's all my spatter that came about from doing it, putting my hands in front of here and just flicking the brush with the thin polish onto my nails. And that gave me the most realistic spatter, I personally think. You can thin it even more, but what happens is the polish becomes very translucent, so it loses a lot of its depth of color. And of course, it really brought out the pink undertone in this polish, which I didn't love. So look for one that has a lot more yellow to it, like this one does. And I really thought it did, because I was comparing it to my Essie color here, and that was way too pink, like just way too pink undertone. I had another one that was way too blue undertone. So I thought this was a good compromise to get the slight blue, slight yellow, and it was still too pink once it was thin. So look for something that has a lot of yellow to it, and you're gonna get a more realistic blood color, I think. And then, yeah, I think that looks great. You just spatter it over, and then of course you do want to do a top coat if you want it to stay. It's not going to stay on the skin, so if you're really washing your hands and stuff, it's going to come right off the skin. There's nothing really to hold it on, so you may want to, you know, do this kind of right before you're ready to go out to your party. And just know that if you're washing your hands, which you should, you know, keep your hands clean, it might not stay, but it'll stay on your nails. All right, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope that was really helpful to you. And if you try it, you have to post it for me. I want to see your versions. I bet a lot of you are going to take this and run with this and do like crazy amazing things. So I totally want to see. All right, this is Carrie Welch, and thank you for watching.